Must have been a reason for this feeling, cause it rings a bell. Let me refresh this on here so I can see it. You know what I'm saying? Gotta have it in front of me. I lied. We're starting 5 minutes early. Well, I'm about to share some links. Well, I already shared the links. I don't probably need to share anymore. Let's see. I don't sound like Optimus Prime right now. Let's see. All right, I think everything is handled administratively. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's mine. Let me put the link in here one more time, and then we can get going and talk about this Lakers and six activity that's still afoot. The Hamburglar got to answer some questions. Hamburglar was he was tripping a little bit. Let me see. All right. Uh, so Lakers get absolutely cook alive for the large majority of game one. You know what I'm saying? Which kind of followed the formula in some respects of the first two game ones they played in these series, where they they start off a little shaky, and then they figure it out, adjust, and over the course of the game impose their will as the quote unquote better team. Ooh, that's a lot of text, Mr. Lawrence. But I was just about to get into that. What did you think of the three guard lineup? Did Ham overthink it to start the series? Can we also discuss Dennis' presence with D'Lo in the lineup? Yeah, man. Uh, I thought in the beginning, well, what was it? Last stream, I said, and I continue to believe this. You don't have to adjust what you were doing until they force you to adjust, or they prove that you can't play the way that you've been playing. Um, I thought that the Vando switch out was like expected, of course, but like I did at least want to see like what he looks like, what size, and what his actual offensive deficiencies would be in a particular series, because not every team coverage is the same. Not every situation is going to be the same on the floor. The personnel is not going to be the same. So the way that Golden State can guard him is probably different than the way that Denver can guard him. Because like even though you pack the paint, it's still Jokic in the paint. Like Jokic and Gordon in the paint. Maybe they put Gordon off ball off on Vando and roam around, and it mucks it up. And that way you. But I at least wanted to see at least one shift of that. You know, before you get to Rui and Dennis and all this other stuff. The problem with what do you order at Arby's? We can get into some Arby's talk later. But the issue with the three guard lineup against the Nuggets in particular, um, one, I still, even though it was a cooking lineup and stuff like that, I still consider it kind of gimmicky just in general. But a lot of the positive results that we saw initially were without LeBron on the floor. And so when LeBron's on the floor, the dynamics of that three guard lineup changes, because for all of the hand wringing about Vando's spacing, mucking up the works and stuff like that. When you have Dennis and LeBron on the floor at the same time, Dennis can't be off ball in the three guard lineups. The three guard lineups worked with Dennis, Austin, and D'Lo without LeBron, because even if Dennis is on the ball, you can kind of justify it more because you have Reeves and D'Lo spacing, and then there's AD, and then there's somebody else that's not LeBron. And then LeBron comes into the equation, and he's going to be an on-ball guy, or he's going to be off the ball, but he's not going to be off the ball in a way that teams are really going to like from a spacing standpoint, he's either going to be in the action as an off-ball guy, or spacing wise, they're going to cheat off of him just because they're so afraid of his drives, right? And so on offense, you have a situation where Dennis can't be off the ball. And then you have D'Lo relegated to the corner, and Austin is the other guard in that situation where him and Dennis are more interchangeable off ball. Dennis is either on the wing in the corner or he's handling the ball. And on the wing and on the corner, defenses aren't really concerned about Dennis. He can make a shot, but the spacing situation is not that much different than a Vandal. So you have to have Dennis on ball in those lineups, and that relegates D'Lo to the corner, and it functionally takes out probably your second best decision maker and ball handler. Even you can debate whether or not the driving is what it is, but offensively it hampers it kind of takes D'Lo out of the game unnecessarily, right? And then on defense, the reason it was a major problem last night, more so than just like the size of it all, is because of the coverage that they were playing in the first half and at the beginning of the third quarter. Before the series started, I was trying to figure out whether or not they would put AD on Jokic or do a situation where they would put either a LeBron or a similarly sized person, I guess Rui or Vando in some respects, on Jokic and then double him, like hard double, and like live with the results on the back end. But they did this weird hybrid of both of them, which was particularly ineffective. And I knew as soon as I saw it, I was not digging it. You could see that it was just not going to work. Because the problem with doubling off of Jokic, doubling to Jokic with AD as the primary defender is you open up the backside and the weak side to a lot of stuff that AD needs to erase that he's not able to because he's the primary defender on the play. So you are out there, you have three guards out there. They have to stay attached to their men, who in some respects are going to be bigger than them and can cut through them and run across their faces and stuff like that. Then the ball gets up on the rim. You have three guys, six, I guess Austin is 6'5", 6'5" and under, who have to battle on the boards and try to get rebounds against better athletes. And then the fourth person is LeBron. He's 6'9", but he's 8,000 years old, right? So he's not particularly going to battle in the ways that he used to. And he wasn't particularly active, stepping up and helping stuff like that. He's more, he can do that, but he picks and chooses when he's going to do that. And so, it led to a lot of bad, rebounding. We saw them get murdered on the rebounds. And then by, extension, it leads to a lot of bad floor balance and transition. And that was what was really killing them in the first half. We saw D'Lo get attacked in semi-transition a couple times. And just I think when Rui finally got in the game, they still were kind of attacking because the floor balance was still kind of mucked up. But you have three, on the rebounding, you have three guards in transition who are trying to match up with people going straight at their chest. Of course, transition buckets are what you want to get anyway. But especially in situations where you have an old power forward running back. AD's contesting everything at the rim, so he's probably not going to be out in transition anyway early. And then you have three guards that have to stop ball and protect the rim. And then Denver was just running the ball down their throats for the entirety of the first half. And so I think that the two things that they tried could work. The two defensive coverages they tried, you can't do a hybrid of the two if you're going to have a three guard lineup out there. Maybe if there's a different set of defenders out there, you might can try to create some havoc and stuff like that, but you're going to get absolutely killed on the boards if you're doing both of them. And we saw in the second half, they stopped playing both of them. They either doubled or they guarded straight up. Which is what you should do. And they guarded straight up they doubled in the second half, but they had AD off a ball, and that prevented a lot of the Aaron Gordon baseline stuff. Jokic was trying to get to it, but AD is so generational that he can kind of guard Jokic and still pay attention to Gordon and kind of stop him from making that little hook, whatever that motion is, right? I don't know, shovel pass on the baseline. He threw it out of bounds a couple times, and then Gordon caught the ball in the corner, and he's not really a jump shooter like that, and they made him shoot, which is what I thought the game plan was all along. Stay honest on the front side of the double, and then make sure that you are aware of Gordon, but you give him the corner three regardless. I did say to a lesser extent you give like KCP some shots and stuff like that. KCP made some shots, and he was a little more active than I thought he was going to be. So, but if you want to expect that to happen every game, but they were doubling off way too far. And they were just overcommitting in certain respects that they didn't have to. And it kind of got them behind the 8 ball. And we saw once they actually put an actual lineup out there with athleticism. If you look at the box score, every person on the roster, non-LeBron AD that's of some size, was a positive in the box score. Just because they played in lineups that made more sense. I think Vando has a place in this series. I think that the 3-guard lineup can work in this series in different parts of the game, but you can't have that lineup out there and also play that hybrid coverage they were running. It's just they were battling uphill. And then in the second half, they finally started switching on Murray and switching those actions. Now, whether or not that's a function of just having a more competent assortment of individuals out there, it is what it is. But I think that you have to play Vando and Rui both in this series from just based off what I saw in game 1. And we'll get into some other stuff. I'm answering way too many on one question. I'm gonna answer the Arby's question first. Typically, my go-to back. What really got me started on the Arby's, because like they was selling roast beef sandwiches. People be thinking Arby's is just the roast beef sandwich place, but they got good like fresh like sandwiches and stuff. Their wraps are pretty good. But what I'm getting 9 times out of 10, what I used to get 10 times out of 10, they used to have chicken, bacon, and Swiss, chicken, a nice little chicken sandwich. It got pepper bacon on it, Swiss cheese, and they put some honey mustard on that thing. It used to go stupid, right? And then I don't remember, I had stopped eating Arby's for a really long time just because I was on I was getting my sexy on, right? At some point they decided to put lettuce and tomato in that sandwich, and it just, I ain't gonna say it cratered all the way, but like you got to not have that on there, because but you know how they do, they make a sandwich and then they put lettuce and tomato on it, and then they take it off if you order it that way instead of making it that way. You know what I'm saying? So I just get either tenders and nuggets, and they got fire mozzarella sticks, and we get a fry. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a curly fried dude. I can't really eat the pepper no more, so it is what it is. But the crinkles is cool. Yeah, CJ know about the chicken bacon Swiss, and he around, he older than me, but like we're a little older. So we, back when they was in the prime chicken bacon Swiss days, that was the best sandwich in the business. I don't care what nobody say. Let's see. Is the defensive philosophy something they could do with D'Lo on the floor the second half? Yeah. A top 3 overall pick. Was he? I think he was 4th, right? Was he 3rd? I just know that he shouldn't have been picked over Julius Randle, which was what I was like, oh yeah. But anyway, is that defensive philosophy something they can do with D'Lo on the floor? Yeah, they did it like for all of like the hand wringing about D'Lo's defense and stuff last night. Of course he got caught into some inattentive things like off the ball, like KCP back cut him one time, and like they were attacking him in semi-transition. But a lot of that was the result of the floor balance that was created by having 3 guards on the floor in a geriatric man against a team that was just trying to run it down their throats. Particularly because they were compromising themselves by overhelping when AD is a good enough defender. Of course, if Jokic is going to back you down, and try to cause some foul trouble or something, you can kind of monitor that. But I think they showed their hand way too early. Like, you doubling on the first play, you don't need to do that. Like, let it see what happens. Like, I said, let it see what happens. See how it plays out first, and then you go and you do everything that you need to do after that. But I think they were entirely I think they psyched themselves out a little bit. They adjusted before the game. I didn't think they needed to. And I think they just tried to throw everything they could out there just to see how Denver will respond. And they kind of just, they got smoked a little bit in the first half. But all of the switching things that they were doing, I don't think it's not the thing about like Dennis needing to guard Murray and stuff. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you need to funnel him into certain areas of the floor as opposed to, trying to super ball pressure him and stuff like that, because if you send him certain directions, he's not gonna like kill you with pull-up jumpers and stuff like that. He was getting in rhythm handoffs coming left and stuff like that. If you don't want D'Lo chasing somebody on the perimeter, like I think that D'Lo can guard Michael Porter Jr. for stretches. Like they tried it with Austin. Austin was struggling at first. He wasn't necessarily closing out well enough and doing all this other stuff. And then Dennis was going under a lot of the ball screens. Whether or not that was by design or what, I don't know. But they weren't having success with that either. D'Lo was guarding KCP. KCP didn't really start getting off until the second half. And I think you can interchange D'Lo and Austin's defensive roles in this series because I don't think Murray is like that much of a problem where you need to hide anybody away from him. The problem is it comes in the form of him as it pertains to Jokic because Jokic's gravity is what is going to give him the majority of success. A lot of those handoffs worked because AD just refused to leave Jokic. And so the coverages are going to have to change depending on the Jokic of it as opposed to the ancillary guys on the court. I think you can handle the rest of the starting lineup if you are properly attending to Jokic in a way that's not overcommittal. Or if you are overcommitting, AD has to be the guy who's cleaning up the stuff on the back end because you can't have AD as the center of the defensive action and also roam with other people off ball. If you're gonna play AD, you got to play him straight up with Jokic, and then you got to lock in. If you got to face guard people, you face guard them, but you just can't do both. And they were doing both too much, and then they stopped doing it, and we saw the results. So they just need to start doing that. Lakers played their best game instead. Absolutely not. Let's see. Nuggets in 5, Lakers are cooked, bro. Lakers played their best game and still took L. They absolutely did not play their best game. Not even close. If you want to look at the shooting math of it, you can say that. But the shooting math was what it was because of the inherent advantages that they have on the roster. None of the stuff that they did in that game isn't something that they can't replicate. Now, a lot of it was like in the mid-range area and stuff like that. They were just shooting over the top of the Nuggets because they have a physical advantage over them. And that's not something that I don't see them not doing again. They got out-rebounded by 8 trillion just because of the function of the lineup that they played on the floor. Like, there are plenty of things that they can do to actually just play sensible lineups out there because I think like 20 of D'Lo's minutes were in the 3-guard lineup. Like, and he's like functionally your small forward out there. Like, that's not what you want to do over an extended stretch of time. Like his pass shot decision making was not good in the first half. I think Reeves started off like 2 for 7. Like they weren't even close to being locked in the beginning of the game. That second half was a different story, but their best basketball, absolutely not. Like, of course, AD had 40 and all this stuff, but like, again, he left points on the table by shooting too early, anticipating contact and stuff. Like he was rushing a little bit in the first half as well. Like they weren't entirely locked in for a majority of that game. And the result was what it was. They almost came back. If LeBron doesn't shoot that 3, who knows how this game goes? If Denver doesn't make like 3 of the wildest miracle shots you ever seen, who knows how this game goes? You know what I'm saying? But I think that over the course of the game, we saw that when the Lakers actually play to their strength as a basketball team, they are the better basketball team. I think that. I still believe that. But don't you think their Lakers showed their strategy early, putting Rui on Joker work, and I think Joker worked, and I think Denver will just yeah. But like with anything, I don't think that adjustment is like a wholesale adjustment. I just think that you can make that adjustment, but it's LeBron James instead of Rui Hachimura. You just have to stick with one of the coverages. That was the problem. They didn't stick with, they tried to hybridize it, and it just blew up their whole like situation. Like you either do one or the other. Of course, you don't want LeBron on Jokic for large stretches, but if Jokic is out in the high post as opposed to the low post, you can put LeBron James on him because he can try to back LeBron James down, and like maybe you don't want to take away LeBron's legs and stuff like that, but Jokic is not going to operate on the low post every time. So you can get away with guarding him with other people in certain respects. It's just you have to be selective when you do things because if it's just going to be Rui, like they're going to find a way to get Rui in some kind of foul trouble or put him in some actions where he's going to have to show that he's able to laterally move in certain ways that I don't think he's necessarily going to be ready for. The adjustment on the other end offensively, though, I think Denver absolutely has to contend with that, and they didn't do a good job of it in the first game. So on on either side of the floor, both teams have something to think about. But I think if the Lakers play sensible lineups out there and they play a sensible coverage that is not involving too many of the defenders and actions. They just got to play the Nuggets honest, whether that be super double with AD weak side or AD straight up. You have to commit, and then I think that we'll see that the physical advantages that the Lakers have offensively and the Nuggets role players being a little more limited in certain respects, I think that's going to win out over the series. Now, maybe they shoot like this for the rest of the series. The Nuggets were like 14 for 27 at some point. Like they were shooting like 50 or 60% from three for a large stretch of the game. Like if you expect that to continue, maybe we have a different discussion. But I just think the Lakers played into their hands in certain ways that they probably won't do going forward. Let's see. Nuggets won by a total of 2 Jokic Murray desperation threes. Yeah, man, those threes were Murray's got changed to a 2. But I think what's his face? I think Michael Porter Jr. shot a 3, and I think that 3 hit the corner of the backboard before it went in. Like they had some shot making that's just like. Now I can't say nothing too crazy about it because Reeves banked in the 3 and he made that half court like 3/4 court shot against the Warriors that kind of like swung the game for them. So like I ain't hating on it, but like even with all of the super blitzing of them that they did in the first half, they still barely won the game. And like I didn't think the Lakers were particularly tactically sharp for a large majority of the game. They were not playing like Bron and AD were playing, they were hooping whatever, but I don't think that the Lakers gave themselves the best chance to win. And the result was what it was, but like I don't think that's going to be a problem going forward. I just think that they kind of outthought themselves a little bit with that 3-guard lineup and the coverages they were playing. Let's see. The Lakers did not play the best game at all. It's hilarious that people think are rude. Yeah, like it's an adjustment for sure. Like, but the adjustment was more so that the lineup was functional now. Like, of course, Rui offers the scoring on one end, and then like he can actually disrupt Jokic before he catches the ball, like which was the plan all along. Like you put people out there that can guard and fit in certain respects on offense or defense, whichever one you're really needing at the time. Rui just happened to fill both today, but like Rui might be barbecue chicken next game. You never know. Like I'd actually wager that it might be more likely that that's going to be the case, but they still have to contend with him on the other end. So if you want, I still wouldn't start him personally, like until we see like, but you know what I'm saying? I'm more, I've seen Vandal guard Jokic for stretches, you know what I'm saying? When he played with Timberwolves and stuff. So I'm not like, but people are worried about the offense, but the offense is already kind of compromised because D'Lo's stuck in the corner while Dennis is on ball. Like, so there's adjustments to be made, and I think they will make them. Let's see. AD on the non-shooter is adjustment. Rui on Joker is just a byproduct. Yeah, AD, if like I said, if you're going to double, AD has to be the weak side guy cleaning everything up because nobody else on the roster is going to be. Well, LeBron can dig down in certain respects and he can make his rotations fast enough, but he's not a threat at the rim to really block shots from a standstill, like help side situation as much anymore. He's not really a great 2-foot jumper anymore because he's old and his foot is cooked, right? So and I don't think LeBron was very intentional in helping off of his man in certain like situations. Like the layup D'Lo got back cut on, LeBron was just chilling, like, you know what I'm saying? But they kind of all got caught off guard. But like LeBron's not going to deter in the way that AD would off ball. So you have to make a choice. Is LeBron gonna guard Jokic? Is Vandal? Is Rui? Like, there's more guys. Most still not available. So like we don't have that option. But it can't be doubling and AD because I think the backside would be too much of a mess to continue to do that. So they got to figure that out. Let's see. AD won't have another 40-point. Lakers need to win game 2 or they're in trouble. I mean, AD might not have 40 points, but is D'Lo gonna score 8 points again? Like, I think Dennis only has 6 points. Like, I don't think LeBron was particularly attacking in the ways that he could relentlessly. Like, you know what I'm saying? And plus, I don't think that the shots AD got were out of the norm of the shots he's gonna get all series. He just made his shots. And if he keeps making the shots, the Nuggets are gonna have to continue with that for however long. Because for all of the talk about AD's yo-yoing play in this particular postseason, before this postseason, he was like he was one of the top NBA playoff scorers in NBA history. Like, so he's done this before. It's in. I don't think Denver has the front line to compete with him on defense in any respect. So I think another 32 to 35 point games are totally in the realm of possibility. I didn't see anything that Denver did that would deter me from believing that AD couldn't do this again. So if that's what you think, that's fine. I don't necessarily agree, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see. Ham put us in a 15-point hole. We were asked defensively. They had multiple 15-point leads. Yeah, man. Even with all the crimes of the beginning of the game, like starting like that with the 3-guard lineup, I was like, okay, they tried it. It didn't work. Surely he's not going to do it again. Then the second half comes on. I see Dennis on the court. I'm like, what's going on, bro? Like I like before, like they were showing the the graphics on screen, like Jokic's points or something, and I seen Dennis with his white socks on. I'm like, bro, he about to be out there again. And they ran it again. Got cooked for not cooked. They basically played even for like the first 6 minutes or whatever. They were trading baskets for the most part. And then they kind of got it together once they put Rui. I think it was Rui, Lonnie. I can't remember the specific lineup, but it was a lineup that made more sense, and they started chipping away. But I think that the Hamburglar just he outthought himself a little bit. And you know, he likes to ride with certain things when he likes what he sees. So like the 3-guard lineup worked in Game 6. The one time where Lonnie had a good game in the regular season, he started him in the next game. Did he start him? He was in a rotation instead of Rui the next game. So like Ham is prone to do a couple things where it's like, oh, this worked, and we're gonna ride it out and see what happened, and then it, go from there. The bigger thing to me was just that the way they were playing defense was what was really killing them, as opposed to the actual lineup. Rui on MPJ and AR and Murray is the actual adjustment if we curve the early rhythm. Like I don't think Dennis needs to be in there to guard Murray, but that's just me. So like that's exactly what I'm talking about from an adjustment standpoint. Whoever I think you can guard Murray with all three of them. Of course, like you might be worried about D'Lo at the point of attack. That's fine. So at least Reeves can definitely guard Murray from my perspective, because he wasn't particularly effective on MPJ because he wasn't big enough to really like bother him. MPJ to me is a taller Klay Thompson. I think that D'Lo can guard MPJ if it comes to it. If you want to put Rui on him, I think Rui can guard them because MPJ is not necessarily fleet of foot. He's not going to kill you off the dribble. He's not really a great movement shooter. Like the things that Rui would have a problem with another guy of that archetype, I don't think those exist with Michael Porter Jr. in certain respects. And he's big enough to kind of bother him. So that's an adjustment I would look into too, for sure, but I don't think there needs to be wholesale things. I don't think you need to insert Dennis just because you're worried about Murray. Like Murray's going to have games like he had yesterday. He's also going to give you some stingers. He's done that. Like that's just the kind of guy he is. I'm not overly concerned about adjusting to Jamal Murray yet. You just got to make sure that you're playing Jokic the right way and then go from there. Let's see. The correlation between Lakers getting beaten transition and 50-50 plays early and no Vandal feels accurate. Yeah, like now Vandal has problems like with over pursuit in his own respects. Like he'll fall down a crash in the offensive glass, and he can kind of wreck your floor balance that way if he's going for a steal in the back court or the half court or whatever. Not the half court, but the front court. But you need if we're gonna play the transition and loose ball game and the rebound and go and grab and go game, Vandal he has to play, regardless of what the half court offense looks like, because there's also still the transition of it and the early offense that Vandal can kind of be a part of as well. Like I don't think he's as huge of a negative as people probably think, particularly in this series, but he has to play, I think. Brother, if you donate one more time. Got another donation. Shout out to the channel growth. I pretty much guarantee Mo is going to get time now. Yeah, man, appreciate the you know what I'm saying, the 10. We out here, you know what I'm saying? Real streamer activities, you know what I'm saying? Making it rain out here, you know what I'm saying? YouTube ain't gonna pay me though, because I'm still way under the $100 threshold. I don't even think I put any account information. I'm like, I'm never gonna get that ad revenue trash. You know what I'm saying? My clicks per minute or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I can't actually monetize most of the stuff on here because it's a basketball channel. So we really do appreciate that donation. Let me get in there. Lonnie isn't even straight short for something. It's just straight up Lonnie. I call him Lonald on the TL. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Ronald, Ronnie, Lonald, Lonnie. Like it has to be that. You know what I'm saying? But let me get back up here because I missed some of this question. Well, y'all having a conversation, but let's see. LeBron might have a big game. Yeah, I think LeBron was coasting pretty much last game. Like LeBron has shown, I do think that the LeBron centric offense kind of hurts the Lakers sometimes because particularly when Dennis is on the floor. Just because I don't think he has the archetype that he is used to in his drive and kick situations to really like if Beasley was actually playable, I would start Beasley. Like from an offense standpoint, like I think you can kind of get away with him on like maybe not on the KCP, but like I think he would be less harmful, and I think that his offensive presence as a spacer would help LeBron in these situations, as opposed to him and Dennis kind of taking turns, not being good shooters off the dribble really, and kind of like forcing the offense into spots where you kind of have to be a driving team as opposed to being a threat from three levels more often. Like, of course, you have Austin, but Austin's also not a great off the dribble shooter option for me because even though he can shoot, he's not particularly fluid in that motion yet. So it takes a little time to get into those kind of rhythms and things like that. So you kind of make your offense a little less dynamic with those two out there. But I think that LeBron can force the issue a little more than he did last game, and I think he will, just due to the urgency of the game too and everything like that. And I think that we'll see a similar, if not better, output game from him probably for the rest of the series going forward, because they were absolutely given no resistance to any of his drives at the rim. And we haven't really seen him get that unimpeded to the basket in this entire playoffs, or since his foot has been cooked basically. So I think that that's something to monitor going forward. I think that the Lakers have a tremendous advantage in their top two players, even though Jokic was doing what he was doing. But I'm talking about in terms of them attacking Denver's defense, I think that they're going to have a lot more success going forward. Let's see. Dennis got to go back to the bench. His energy would have probably curbed Brown Spark. That 16 minutes would never happen. Yeah. But a lot of the Brown stuff was just a result of the floor balance being trash. Like he was getting unimpeded drives to the basket. People were just like not in the positions that they needed to be. And a lot of that was due to the coverages they were playing and the lineups they were trotting out there. Because even when they would make a first substitution, like it would be like Lonnie would come in and it would be Dennis, Lonnie, and not Dennis, it would be D'Lo, Lonnie, and Reeves. So like even when they were subbing in guys, like they were still like kind of committing to this 3-guard idea that just wasn't really cooking. And Bruce got some of the benefits of that, and he was grabbing and going. Jokic was very good at getting the ball and off the rim and throwing it in transition to Aaron Gordon, because even though Aaron Gordon is who he is, like from a dribbling standpoint, like he can run in transition. And like I think one of the plays, like I think it was D'Lo and Rui back. Like even Rui himself is not particularly fleet of foot, and he's not going to contain the ball in transition in the way you would need him to. So like just it's still all like a lineup thing. Like and the coverage that you're playing, you still gotta tighten those things up. Let's see. Murray getting too much respect, D'Lo getting too little respect. Mike Malone was wilding, bro. I do think that all the doom and gloom about D'Lo can't play as many minutes in this series, I think that is entirely too premature, because D'Lo was the one who suffered the brunt of these lineups. I don't think he played a lot of minutes in a sensible lineup for the rest of the game. Like I think if you do everybody who had time in the 3-guard lineups, I think he had the most time in a lineup that had 3 guards on the floor. And we saw that for all of what Mike Malone was talking about when the third quarter started. D'Lo scored like 6 straight points, and Malone was like, "Wait a minute, can we please call a timeout?" They were still up by like 18. He got that trigger was quick. He was like, "We are not about to allow this man to get cooking." And the fact that he's focusing so much on him in the post game conferences lets me know that he's one trying some gamesmanship. I don't know if he thinks D'Lo is mentally soft or whatever, or he's easily agitatable. I think he's going to find that he's not. But two, it tells me that, like, for the third series in a row, the coaches they know that if you don't have D'Lo involved in the offensive action, then the Lakers their success rate goes down tremendously. Just because the team runs a little better if he has the ball more. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? What the Lakers do to we had the Dave McMenamin quote, but I don't know if that was, you know what I'm saying, actual things that people were talking about, or if that was, you know what I'm saying, reporters putting things out in the ether for engagement. I don't know. But I don't think that the answer is to like insert Dennis to the detriment of like D'Lo's minutes. I think that you send Dennis back to the bench and you play a balanced lineup, and then you go from there. Like, and then if D'Lo continues to get attacked in semi-transition with better floor balance and stuff like that, then you can have the conversation. But for right now, that's entirely too premature for my liking. And we've seen that we've had moments like this in pretty much every series, and he's responded well in each of them. Let's see. Mo ankle might be in light support. Yeah, man, high ankle sprains are no joke, bro. That's why I remember my dog Jimmy Garoppolo had a high ankle sprain, and he tried to come back against the Dolphins, and he looked like the worst football player in the history of the NFL. And people were sharing the clips of him getting killed, throwing wobbly interception. I'm like, bro, he got a high ankle sprain. He is cooked. He came back in like 10 days, bro. He is cooked. LeBron, Solomon Hill gave him a high ankle sprain. He was cooked for a long while, like, bro, because that's more akin to like breaking something in your leg than like spraining your ankle for real. It's like more of a what I can't remember, fibula adjacent type. Like, it's higher on your leg, and it's like it's way worse. And I think Mo, you know what I'm saying, one, he's not particularly fleet of foot in the first place, and his footwork isn't the best anyway. So like he probably wasn't going to play a lot anyway. But I think that if he does play, there's still going to be some issues that we have from a floor balance perspective, depending on who's on the floor with him and what actions they have him guarding. If you park him near the rim, I think he'll be relatively fine on defense. But we know that Denver doesn't just play Jokic from one area of the floor, and the guys around him are crisper in their movements and their rotations, in their cutting, and you know what I'm saying, they're a little crisper than what Mo usually is keeping up with. So even if he can be big, can he contest on a quick cut, or like you know what I'm saying, will he be attentive on an Aaron Gordon dive or something like that? Like, so he hasn't played any playoff basketball. So, well, I don't know if he played in, was he back on the team back then when they played against the Raptors? I don't remember if he played or not. He might have. I can't remember. But adjusting to playoff basketball this late might be something that's a little challenging for him. But I think if he is healthy, they should give him a shot. Maybe they give Tristan a shot. Like, there's still a lot of things that they can consider. I didn't think Tristan looked particularly bad, but he doesn't give you anything on offense. But, like, you have to make sacrifices in some respects on either side of the ball. So, like, but the Lakers still have a lot of things to not figure out, but a lot of things that they can do going forward. So, you know, we'll see. See, Bron needs handle Jimmy Butler mini game or both. Bron just gonna is what he is at this point. He gonna give you that robot ball. You know what I'm saying? He played like a robot with ungreased like wheels and stuff. Like, of course, he's like one of the most fluid athletes we've seen, like in certain respects, and then in other respects, he's the most rigid man in the world. That step back is garbage. It's one of the worst looking step backs in the history of the NBA. But you know what I'm saying? I think that his jumper didn't look that great at the beginning of the game. He shot a 3 earlier that just was like, I'm like, ugh, bro, like, we in trouble if that's what your jumper looking like. He kind of, you know what I'm saying, he shot that 3 at the end. Like, I think sometimes his jumper just escapes him. Last night was one of those nights, but I don't think that they're gonna force him into situations where he has to make a decision where he's gonna like have to shoot. If he wants to get to the rim, I think he's gonna be able to. So Maybe he needs that in the next series. I don't if he needs it in this series. You know what I'm saying? He can have it sometimes. Sometimes he don't. But we'll have to see. Bro, they've been trying to bench D'Lo since the first round. It ain't gonna stop. Yeah, bro. Like, if you watched that and was like, oh yeah, the main problem here was D'Angelo Russell, like, then you just ignored everything else that was going on the floor. Because for how strong they finished the game, Dennis and Austin were getting absolutely fricasseed for the large majority of the first half and a good bit of the third quarter as well. Like, of course, like I said, Dennis going under the screens and the way he was doing it probably was a scheme decision, but like it didn't change the fact that he was getting absolutely cooked for a while. Austin was playing MPJ like he was Christian Brown out there. Like he was like there sometimes, but he was not closing out with the speed you need to. Like, so the holes were leaky everywhere. They just kind of figured it out towards the end, and then like it made it look a little different than it was. But like, you know what I'm saying? D'Lo wasn't. He was far from the only problem, and I'm not entirely sure he was the biggest problem either. You know, well, I know he wasn't. That lineup was in general, but you know, I think he's gonna bounce back like he tends to do. You know, and then all of these conversations are gonna look as silly as they've been looking for the first 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? What was he the ninth most efficient shooter in the playoffs after we talked about him not shooting over 50% in 12 games? Like, playoffs are long, bro. And it's a little more reactionary because it's a game 1 situation, but I'm never worried about like D'Lo's want to or like locked in this. Like, he floats around from time to time, but I'm never questioning like his mental toughness or his physical capabilities in most matchups. So I think it'll be fine. Mo just big. Jokic might up and under this man to 6 fouls. Yeah, I don't think Mo's gonna be like an option that you can just trot out there and like, yeah, go give us 15 strong minutes, Mo. I don't think it's gonna be that. I think he can give you about 5 or 6 possessions where it's like, we need you to just be in the way a little bit, bro, so we can kind of like play some semblance of like non-scrambly defense. And I think he can probably give you that. But once Jokic gets out into the high post and he gets into the short roll situations, I think Mo is going to be in a little trouble in those areas of the floor. So maybe I don't know how you dictate the terms of where Jokic lines up on the floor. Maybe you have Mo just be big and he kind of just, you know what I'm saying? He stands in certain ways that Jokic can't get to the elbow or get to the spots that he wants to get to. That's the whole thing that I think that we have to be better at with Jokic just in general. Just do the work early as opposed to letting him catch the ball on the block and then sending help and stuff like that. If you're gonna play him certain ways, you got to do it before the offense kind of sets up, as opposed to waiting until he gets the ball. Then like, oh, we're gonna send help off of the shooter, and 1 pass away, we're gonna scramble and we're gonna do that. I don't think that's how you have any level of sustained success, because Jokic is just too good of a passer, and he's still too good of an offensive player to just rely on that. So you kind of gotta get up into him in certain respects way before anything. You know what I'm saying? If you want to guard him all the way up the floor and just make sure that he's uncomfortable, like, do that. Like, I don't know, maybe a Tristan can do that for certain, like, you know, but you play him honest when he gets the ball, but before that, you gotta try to disrupt him a little more than they were doing. Let's see. Swear to step back, got enough of. Yeah, I be talking too long after I answer a question. That was like 7 minutes ago. But yeah, that step back is not the business, bro. Ham half doubling the start is the laziest defensive game plan. Open up the kickouts, and of course our guards were cheating off shooters. Yeah. They were cheating off, and they were cheating off way too far. Like, if you're gonna double, you gotta double. You can't be non-committal in the way that they were in the first half, particularly, because then you're just in no man's land. Like, and it was 1 pass away type helpers that were like going way too far away. If you're gonna double, you need to double hard. You know, I think that they were doing a little disservice by doubling just from the front of Jokic for a lot of the time. I don't know how you exactly go about it if AD's because like when AD was off the ball, it was kind of like a faux like double in the second half where he would come up to where he could just like, Jokic saw him and then he would try to adjust and make a pass or something like that. But it wasn't a true like double, but it wasn't not a double. So if you're gonna have double in the way that they were doing, you got to do it on the back end with AD. You can't do it on the front end because you're just asking to get cooked in a multitude of ways. And to their credit, they figured it out. So like, let's just not do that anymore. If you're gonna double, double. Like go. If you go, just go. And then, you know what I'm saying, you can have the back end rotations be what they are. If you're probably gonna do that, I would say that D'Lo would probably be the one to be the doubler, like the dig down guy, just because of the ground he has to cover. Maybe Austin or Dennis or whoever it is a little faster in that kind of recovery situation. Even though D'Lo has been better in that as a chaser over the course of his career, but you need a certain requisite level of speed. Maybe Vando could be a weak side closeout guy in those situations if you're going to double off of the one pass away shooter. Like, again, many things that they can try. So we'll just have to see what they do. But like, if you just think that Rui on Jokic is just like the adjustment that wins the series, I got news for you, and it's not good news. But we'll see. Uh, why were they running 2-3 zones? Oh yeah, we just kind of talked about that. Malone gonna have to do something about the single coverage Brian post up. I don't know what he can do. That was a lot of the reason why I know who you have that's gonna impede LeBron. Like Dennis is on the floor in the 3 guard lineups, and like the shooting isn't where it needs to be, and you can kind of blitz them. You can blitz him and make him get rid of the ball. But like AD's still gonna be on the court somewhere. Like, so even if you kind of send extra resources to LeBron, uh, AD's somewhere on the floor. If he's on the weak side, wherever he is, you can get into a weak side pick and roll situation with AD with a compromised defense. Like, there's a lot of things that can still go wrong if you like try. So like, I think they're more likely to play everything honest, as it pertains to like a LeBron post up, and whether or not that's just going to be a switch and living with the results is probably is what it's going to be. But I think that it's going. That's why I said I think it's going to be a lot of easy buckets for LeBron and AD going forward, just in general, because I don't think they have anybody that can do anything with them in any type of isolation or switching situation. So like they're just going to have to by committee, just everybody take their lumps. Just hope some shots are missed. Maybe crowd them a little bit before they get the ball. Walk under them like Golden State were doing. Like Golden State was causing a lot of misses just because they were like not giving LeBron and AD space to land. Like, well, AD specifically space to land. Like, so like if you got to resort to certain tactics to like stop it, you know what I'm saying. But I don't think there's anything tactically they can do that would like really stop that from happening too often. Let's see. Seems like you can minimize slow Jokic in at least one area. Yeah, you got to pick your poison. With every great player, like, do you want Jokic to cook you scoring, or do you want him to cook you passing? You just can't allow him to do both by giving him a coverage that allows him to do both, because he can go through AD still, but like. He's not going to be able to get the passes off if we play honest. But if you soft double, he can go through AD and find any shooter he wants or any cutter he wants. Like, and they were just giving him either option, and it was turning out bad for them. Uh, that scenario makes Dylan and Austin makes more sense than the Dennis. Yeah, it does. I think that if they're gonna like Dennis, I just think he needs to come off the bench. Like, but when Dennis is good, Dennis, like, you know what I'm saying, the lineup might look a little different. But even then, like, we're still gonna have the problems with the rebounding and stuff like that. But again, I don't know how it looks without them doubling like they were doubling. Maybe if they don't double, it might look better. I don't know, but. If you want to maximize your offensive utility, then it has to be Austin and D'Lo on the weak side of that, and then probably Rui. Because, like, oh, the Vandal's in and he's in the corner getting ignored or whatever. I did like that when Vandal was in, they were using him as a screener. I kind of wanted to see that. Like, because, like, him being relegated to a corner guy is just, like, he can still screen and roll and do things in the short roll and stuff like that. He's not going to, like, he might drop the ball a couple times, but, like, just give teams different looks of Vandal on the court as opposed to him always just being in one spot on the floor. Like, he's not a good enough play finisher to do that anyway. But if you get him in motion, hit him with a couple pocket passes, just keep the defense honest on some rolls, because I don't think they're going to abandon him if he's rolling to the paint. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's still a good athlete, and he can finish around the rim when he actually catches the basketball. So they did better in doing that, but The lineup offensively that would work the best is the Dennis. What was it? Not Dennis. D'Lo, Austin, Rui, LeBron, AD. If we're spamming post ups and stuff like that, because Rui can be the one pass away guy on the wing. Like if they decide to lead, he can hit corner threes. Like he can shoot. All three of those guys can shoot respectively, and they can attack closeouts, and like that's what you need. As opposed to like Dennis will hit a shot if he's open, but like he can't like he's not gonna be nobody's gonna be worried about him. Dropping under on Bron PNR and you're good in terms of stopping their posts, the post ups. Because how much I don't remember how much pick and roll LeBron ran. I know him and AD ran a good amount of it in the second half, like a decent amount of it. Because I think that even in the drop, like it's still Jokic back there, bro. Like of course, Gordon is going to be on the court still. Like so, I'm assuming he's going to guard. He's going to guard LeBron, and then we're going to, drop and recover and all this other stuff. But I still just think that even if you have the appropriate scheme to stop either a post up, a drive to the basket, I think that they don't have enough. Even Aaron Gordon, in all of his greatness, if LeBron's locked in, I don't think Aaron Gordon's stopping him from getting where he wants to go. You know what I mean? And the same for AD. I just think that the talent and physicality this is where the Lakers are going to win the series if they win the series, and I say they win it in 6. I think at a certain point there's just whatever scheme you throw at them is gonna require a little more than they have if you play the appropriate lineups. Again, it all goes back to tactically, the Lakers cannot allow the Nuggets to stop them from playing the way that they played to get here in the first place. They played into the Nuggets' hands in a lot of respects in that first game, and they kept doing it until they stopped doing it, and then we saw what happened. But no matter what coverage you throw, if you want to, if Jokic is food in the drop, then they start hedging a little higher so he can recover on the back end, like, and just muck it up in the middle until he recovers. Like, there's ways that they can try to stop that paint assault that's probably going to happen, particularly because LeBron hasn't looked that great burst wise off the dribble. Like in situations where he's been pressured as a ball handler. One, because his jumper stinks, and two, because his pass shot decision making hasn't been as good as in years past. But I think they have a way to figure all that stuff out if they utilize the other talent on the floor. If they do certain coverages, D'Lo becomes a more viable option. I'm not gonna say viable option, but you don't want to have D'Lo being the weak side decision maker a lot of the time, or he's gonna pick you apart. Particularly if like it's Murray, KCP, and somebody else on the weak side. Like, I'm not worried about those guys, even though like people might think that it's more of a matchup. I'm not too concerned about it. Austin, to a lesser extent, can also do that. So I think you just want to. I lost my train of thought. I think that if you're the Nuggets, you want the ball in LeBron's hands a little more, even though you can't stop him. Necessarily, but it functionally takes certain guys out of the offense. But like, you got to pick your poison as to what coverage you're going to run when LeBron has the ball, and also where you're allocating like your third best defender. Like, because for all of the praise Reeves got and stuff like that, he did a lot of that stuff on Jamal Murray in the fourth quarter. Like, a lot of it was just they were running ghost screens or actual screens to LeBron. Gordon wasn't paying any attention to Reeves when he would leak out on the other side, and Murray was showing a little too high, and like he wasn't recovering as quick as he should have, and Reeves was just getting open threes. They were like running some kind of soft zone in one of the plays where Reeves like kind of set a back screen. He just floated to the 3-point line. He got an open shot, and depending on whether or not you want to keep guarding him with Murray, like Reeves might just continue to kill you in that way with LeBron and AD kind of taking the brunt of the defensive attention. But if you allocate different resources to Reeves, then D'Lo is there if he's in the game to kind of punish them in certain ways. So like I think again, the Nuggets have a lot of things to worry about. Let's see. The crazy part is you can still cheat off Dennis when he's in the game. Yeah, the fact that Ham went to Dennis instead of Rui with that logic when he shoot 140. Hey man, uh, um, I don't know. I don't understand. Like I understand the reasoning from like a math standpoint why that lineup was like the one he had to go to, and like Dennis like because even towards the latter part of the game, they made a they made an adjustment, not an adjustment, but once they started playing well, like Dennis up to that point was not playing well, and like I was waiting to see whether or not Dennis or D'Lo was going to come back in the game because I didn't think Dennis particularly earned the close either, but he got it. And my reasoning, not my reason, I think the justification for that was that they think that he needs to chase Murray around. Like even though I have my own ideas about that, but I think that was more of a they found something that worked. And then if D'Lo's not giving it to you offensively, even though he did step up in the second half and started looking like he was going to be a functional part of the offense going forward, it's often a situation of whether or not you want to sacrifice perceived defensive slippage in those final moments. And I think that's why Dennis was out there as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, D'Lo in the final thing. But like even then, he still kind of mucks up your offense in certain respects. And Rui was already out there, so like that's a different consideration. But I think that Dennis's presence is valuable when he's on. He wasn't particularly on yesterday, and he wasn't particularly getting to the rim in the ways that you want him to. His passings, he wasn't throwing passes on target and stuff like that. So like he has ways he hampers your offense, but his defensive value was too high yesterday to perceived defensive value was too high like in the moments of the game where the game was in the balance to like I see why they made the decision they made, even though I didn't necessarily agree with it. Because like there was still a lack of shooting out there in the Bron AD Cook of the final like stretch that I think they could have did with another shooting option out there. But like of course we was like, oh well, what would the defense look like? Of course that's a consideration, but you know, let's see. Good things the games are still every other day. Yeah, they just NBA like we need all basketball on the TV all the time, bro. Like we we can't have any days off. We just had a lull of 2 days. Like we can't be out here like that. I don't know. Like I don't remember if like later series would always be every other day like they are now. I'm not sure if that was like I've been watching basketball a long time, but like my brain ain't to where I would remember something like that. But I think that this series that's particularly important between like games 2 and 3 and between games 4 and 5, like where the altitude is going to be a change, like that's going to be a noticeable thing. Like for all of the things people made of like the Lakers going into altitude and looking tired, I didn't think they particularly looked tired. They kind of got ran ragged, but again, that was a function of the lineups and the decisions they made. I don't think they looked like particularly gassed or anything. They just were ineffectual in the things that they were trying to do. And it kind of became a track meet, but I don't think that was a result of like their lungs burning from the altitude stuff. Now, of course, when you're playing at altitude, the first shift is going to be the worst one because you still got to acclimate. You can fly there as early as you want to. Like you still haven't played like actual basketball against a team that's not people you've played against. And so like it's going to be a little shock in the beginning, but I think they handled that aspect of it well. But you don't, the altitude is a situation, your adjustments, you don't have time to cook them up as much as you would like to, whether good or bad, because I think that we had a little too much time ahead of this game. And I think that we kind of overcorrected some things that we didn't need to like do. Vandal not starting being chief among them. But I as a fan, I enjoy that it's going to be every other day, and I think it provides some advantages tactically for the Lakers in particular. Whoa, because I think they have more adjustments to make. Not more, they have more adjustments that they can make, and you know what I'm saying. Denver can't prepare for like every possibility all the time. You know what I'm saying. So, but that's why I thought they should have just kept some of that stuff to the vest and just waited to see if they were going to have to make the adjustments that they made that didn't turn out to work. uh, Yeah, that's the overthinking point is basically what I finally got to after I circled around, you know, circled around for a minute. Um, I just got a massage. That sounded crazy. I just got a mess. Speaking of massages, I got physical therapy tomorrow, baby. Well, I might have it. You know what I'm saying? My insurance was like, bro, you at your physical therapy limit. And then this brother came up and told me yesterday, like, yeah, bro, you know what I'm saying? You at about 30. Your progress is it's progressing, but it ain't progressing all the way. So we gotta like reconvene, you know what I'm saying? So they hit up my insurance provider yesterday. So I'm supposed to be going tomorrow. I don't know. If I do go tomorrow, I'm gonna feel a little bit better while we watching the game because there's just certain things that physical therapy gives you, you know what I'm saying, that I need in my life right now. You know what I'm saying? I might need to get a massage gun. Like they got massage guns, I can get one, but like I can't put it on my back and like on my hips and stuff. I need somebody to do that for me, you know? Need a little massage in my life, you know what I'm saying? Um my arm. How long have we been streaming? 60 minutes, you know what I'm saying? That's a pretty good run. If anybody got any more questions, it ain't got to be about Lakers nuggets, you know what I'm saying? Could be about Lakers tenders, you know what I'm saying? Chicken tenders or chicken nuggets, which one are you? You know what I'm saying? I'm a tenders guy. What's the there's like different classifications for like chicken, like like if you call it a tender, it's a certain like cut of meat. If it's a strip, it's a different like the grade of meat is different. All this other stuff. We learned a lot about this stuff in products liability. This is law class. This is law school amp time. Because you would see products and it would be like chicken flavor or like such and such flavor, and I'm like, why they call it chicken flavor? You know what I'm saying? What's the meaning behind it? And it all goes back to like liability. They like, bro, if it ain't got no actual chicken in there, you can't be calling it chicken, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think I'm gonna go look at one of these ramen packs downstairs. I think it say chicken flavor, but you know what I'm saying? I think it used to say chicken, just chicken. You know, but they like, nah, you can't do that no more, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. It's very simple to me. Get AD the ball on the face up, put Rui in the opposite corner, Brown in the middle third to keep his man farthest from the double and allow AD to cook and kick out when needed. Yeah. Uh, I do think that teams would invite AD like kick out situation because like I don't think he's necessarily the crispest decision maker in those situations. But like the ways you can exploit this Denver defense are manyfold, in my personal opinion. I don't even think they scratched the surface of like, because they were just like trying to spam. Like Dennis had the ball a lot, like, and that you know what I'm saying. You can only do so many things with Dennis having the ball. You know what I mean? Um, they did do some like of the corner set with AD and like kind of inverted it where you're not passing the AD, you pass it to the corner and you're kind of playing a game from that area of the floor. Like they made some adjustments that were like, but like I think that this is just a pure go get buckets series for a large majority of it from AD and LeBron. Like because they're going to transcend the defensive whatever defensive coverages that the Nuggets have, in my personal opinion. If they are locked in appropriately. Now, of course, AD is going to miss some shots, and you can be concerned about that if you want to. But like, this is easily the best matchup he's had in the playoffs from a offensive standpoint. And like, even if he's not like super locked in, like I don't see a world where he's gonna like have the kind of games he's been having because he was contending with Draymond and JJJ and like people who can, and just generally more experienced defenses in Golden State and more physically talented ones in the Grizzlies um outside of like because the rest of the roster wasn't the business in that respect. But like I don't think that the Nuggets extend as long from a physicality standpoint or just like a talent standpoint past a certain point. And like the guys that they're relying on in like the fourth and fifth is like KCP and Bruce Brown, and they're not going to stop any show defensively. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, just play appropriately spaced basketball with functional lineups and just let Bron and AD do what they do. And then you can get the ancillary Reeves on Murray type cooks or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it's going to be after that. Like, that's why I'm still not too concerned about it. Tenders from some places, nuggets from Chick-fil-A. I'm a tenders at Chick-fil-A guy. Now, I didn't know that they don't sell those everywhere. I can't remember. I had the nuggets in there. I don't remember. It was like something was going on with the. I think they were a little. Like I had the tenders first. Like first of all, let's talk about how Chick-fil-A used to be trash. Chick-fil-A has been in Youngstown for as long as I can remember, and we went back in like I was like 6. I had to be like 6 or 7. We went to Chick-fil-A, bro. They had the big waffle fries back then. They had the nuggets. The nuggets, the breading was a little different, and the barbecue sauce tasted a little different, and I didn't like either of them. So from like age 6 to like age 23, maybe, I was not eating Chick-fil-A, bro. I was not. I wasn't with it. Like, and then my gateway into Chick-fil-A was like, oh, I'm on this diet. Who got good grilled chicken sandwiches? You know what I'm saying? And Chick-fil-A had this grilled chicken sandwich. It had bacon on it. You know what I'm saying? Bacon, lettuce, tomato. I don't eat the lettuce and tomato on the chicken sandwich. I think that's, well, I'll take lettuce, but like tomato on the chicken sandwich. Like, I don't like my sandwiches all juicy like that. But it had like grilled chicken, Kobe Jack cheese, bacon. Then they had that like, that sauce that's not Chick-fil-A sauce, but it's not Chick-fil-A sauce. It's like that honey mustard barbecue one that come in the long packet. Like I thought that was Chick-fil-A sauce for the longest time, because when I would go there, that's all I would eat was that sauce, because I was on a diet pretty much. You know what I'm saying? That was like my cheat meal. But you know what I'm saying? Once I graduated from that sandwich and started eating through the rigors of law school, stressing me out, and I'm like, I need to eat something to soothe my soul, which I still do to this day with my back pain and stuff. But that's when I got introduced to the tenders. I'm like, let me see what these tenders hitting on. They was hitting. And then I got the nuggets, and I was like, these nuggets don't taste the same as the tenders. I think the tenders like are a little sweeter. You know what I'm saying? And I think I like prefer that in their chicken, because I think you can still kind of taste the brininess in the nuggets a little bit. But I might be tripping. I don't know. But that's just my personal preference. I'm a tenders over nuggets guy at Chick-fil-A. But I can't really eat Chick-fil-A anymore, because like I found out that I'm sensitive to like peanuts, like not like an allergy where I would die or something, but like it messes up something in here, and they fry everything in peanut oil. So I used to eat Chick-fil-A and be like, why do I feel so horrible? I didn't eat that much of it. I think it was the oil though. But John Wick Part 2, man, we could talk about John Wick Part 2 for a second. I thought that he would have at least the good sense to just like, once you go through the rigmarole, not the rigmarole, but the whole song and dance, because they had the whole interview with Jalen Rose, and like, I'm of the opinion that people love what I like to call fake hustle, right? I think Anthony Edwards is the best in the business at this right now. At just saying platitudes that people want to hear, and they'll love you forever, and they'll forget about everything you either do on the court or like say like they'll forgive you for like basketball transgressions or otherwise. Like if you just pay people lip service in certain respects, then like they'll leave you alone, or they'll venerate you in a way that you probably don't deserve, right? So I thought that they just explained the game plan to Ja. They're like, all right, we're going to go out here. We're going to say some nonsense, and you just going to lay low for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And put the guns away and just chill, bro. Like, that's all you got to do. This $250 million still going to be here waiting for you. Your shoes going to be flying off the shelves, bro. Like, that's all you got to do. And then, like, he waited like 2 weeks. If that. I can't even remember how long it was. He hurt his wrist. He shouldn't even be holding anything right now. He cooked his wrist in the first round. Why are you running around with guns in your hands, bro? Like, people were blaming his friend. Like, of course, like if the block hot, you don't need to be recording anyway. They say you're trying to be a aspiring rapper or whatever. That's at least what the one dude said in that rant that people was loving. I was with him at the beginning of the rant, but then he was like, yeah, you trying to be, your friend's trying to be this rapper, and then it started sounding a little little January 60 at the end, even though he was still cooking. But just like, I don't understand the level of impulse control like that he just doesn't appear to have. And of course, like he came up, he got a lot of money at a young age. It is what it is. Like, but he was more, when he was talking, he was more focused on like, oh yeah, I have anxiety, I be drinking too much, all this other stuff. That ain't got nothing to do with like you pulling the gun out the second time, bro. So like, you got to go figure out a multitude of things. Like, am I worried about it long term? I don't know, like, cause he's still like super young, but I am like, whenever guns are involved, like whether or not it comes to you harming yourself accidentally or harming others in situations where you quick to pull out a gun, that something that could be like settle with words, but I don't think anybody's going to get close enough to him to try that. But he seems to be inviting that kind of like energy. I don't know. I think he'll be fine. I think they need to suspend him because, like, I didn't think that initial suspension was worth anything. It's mid-season. They're like second place, pretty solidified, or whatever they were at the time. Like him missing all those games didn't hurt the team. It didn't hurt his pockets. Like it's something that he could just wave away. They're gonna have to put the hammer down on him. You know what I'm saying? For lack of a better phrase, you know what I'm saying? Get real Thorsian on him. Like he either needs to miss like a quarter of the season at least, to like, not necessarily from an optic standpoint, because even this one wasn't as bad as the last one, particularly in my opinion, but it's bad due to the timing of it. And it's like, yeah, but you can have a gun, like, you know what I'm saying? We second minute, whatever, you know what I'm saying? We can get into the logisticals of that. But just like the pure lack of like care and respect for his own career and like what had already happened shows me that he wasn't slapped on the wrist hard enough. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, I didn't think he was either. But like this just pushes it further. So he got to have a good sanction. I don't even think necessarily for the league's sake, just to get him to realize that he's I was about to cuss, but he ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. But yeah, that's John Wick. I still haven't seen, you know what I'm saying? I saw the first John Wick when it first came out, however long ago that was. I haven't seen one since. I didn't know if they're going to keep making them. I was like, I'll just let them cook and then see where we at. So I got to lock in because people saying 4 was a big time. So I need to see what that's talking about. Yeah, man, he didn't wait till the playoffs was over. He didn't wait. He didn't wait till his wrist stopped hurting, bro. He was itching to grab that gun. Like, I know your wrist hurt, bro. You fell on your wrist. Your wrist bent forward this way. I ain't never seen nobody like hit their fingers and then their wrist fold down and then like they just be cool like after. Like he was playing basketball. I'm like, all right, maybe his wrist feel a little better than we thought, but like, no, you don't need to pick up the blicky, bro. Like, what are you doing? January 60 is crazy. Yeah, that's my go-to description of veiled racism these days. I can't remember what it used to be. But you know what I'm saying? That's the new variant of it. You know what I'm saying? That clip. I think I started using that when that clip of Kevin Harlan and whoever else that was talking about Jamarcus Russell, Doug Collins, I think it was. They was talking crazy, bro. Like I'm like, this is some wild energy that's from this guy who's just like bad at football. Like he's not taking the game serious. They were talking about him like he was a criminal number one, like he was John Morant. No. They was talking about him like he was walking around with a gun on IG Live in 2004. Like they was talking crazy. And I think I said it actually on the stream was the first time I used it. So yeah, that's my that's a part of the AMP lexicon now. So if you ever hear me talking about some January 60 activities, just know that some racism may or may not be afoot, but probably is afoot. How long we been? 72 minutes. Lakers in 6. I stand on that. Celtics and Heat. I think it's gonna be Celtics. I don't know if it's going to be in 6, but I do think at a certain point, Miami has been getting away, like not getting away, but they ran into, they got an injury in the first round. They ran into a Knicks team that I didn't think was particularly that great, even though I'm a Randall supporter. In the second round, I think that in this round, they're going to run out of talent, particularly with Hero being hurt. I think that the Celtics have guys to match all of the ancillary, the Gabe Vincent 20-point game that you can see happening, or I think Kevin Love is going to be neutralized by the existence of Al Horford and things like that. Then I think that after the Jimmy Tatum of it all and the Bam of it all, I think Bam and Robert Williams are stylistically similar, and I think that Robert can play him to kind of not necessarily a stalemate, but I think that he's going to give enough production to where Bam's not going to be as big of a, maybe he cooking right now. I don't know what the score is, but I think that the Celtics are going to end up taking it. Lakers Celtics finals is my prediction still, even though that game went the way it went. The rest of that game played out how I thought the entire game was going to play out. Once again, what does it matter, bruh? One day we're gonna find out who you really are. We're gonna take the mask off, Scooby-Doo style, and we can appropriately thank you for the second donation on this channel. You know what I'm saying? The second ever. You know what I'm saying? The first of many, you know what I'm saying? Once I become a huge Super Auto Pet streamer with basketball talk in between it, you know what I'm saying? If y'all haven't played Super Auto Pets, play it. That's why the Lakers lost yesterday. I had a tweet. I said the Lakers might lose because I used all of my luck for the week. All right, so in Super Auto Pets, right? There's a lot of animals, whatever they playing, whatever, right? There's an animal on there. It's the sloth. The sloth is like the rarest animal you can find. Like every animal is in the game, and it's like you can see where they're going to be in the game, like because they're all tiered or whatever. But the sloth is never on any of those things. You can get a sloth in any round at any time, but it's very rare, right? So I was cooking yesterday. Like I was like, you got to win 10 rounds, and you can lose like 6 rounds, but you got to win 10. So I was like on my 8th win, bro, and I had I had huge units in like certain slots, and then I was rolling, and then a sloth popped up. You know what I'm saying? And if you get a sloth that late, a sloth is 1/1. It doesn't have any particular skills like the other animals does. It does nothing for you. It's just there because it's rare, right? I got that joint yesterday. I won the last 2 rounds that I needed to win, and I'm like, bro, that's probably never going to happen again, right? So all of the luck that I was going to send off to the Lakers got intercepted right before the game. So I got to take my my part in make sure I got to take responsibility for the Lakers going outside the way they did. Maybe the luck started recalibrating after the second half started, and that's why we saw the game close the way it did. So it's just going to be smooth sailing from here on out. Only reason I'm not saying Lakers in 5 is just because it's hard to beat people 4 times in a row. And I ain't going to be that disrespectful, and I don't personally believe it anyway. So Lakers in 6, Williams, stat 6, Bam 3, 6. Okay. You know what I'm saying? They playing each other even right now because they're stylistically the same guy in a lot of respects to me. Like their archetype of the way they play defense and how they get their points on offense, even though Williams isn't like going to face up and hit jumpers and stuff like that, like Bam does. But you know what I'm saying? Bam's offensive game is still limited, even though he can put up numbers. But like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about a Bam offensive explosion. But that's why I think it's still going to be Celtics, because I think that although they're stylistically similar, the Celtics just have more talent on the bottom end of the roster, and that's also, you know what I'm saying, my same logic for the Lakers. But 75 minutes, 76 minutes is good. I'm about to go get me some salmon in my system, you know what I'm saying? Stomach was cooked yesterday and the day before. So we on a recalibration mission. But I probably will be back after game 3. What would that be? Friday? I don't know. Streaming on Friday is tricky, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's when people be outside. But if y'all show up, I show up. I mean, if I show up, you know what I'm saying? If y'all show up, it is what it is. If not, I'll talk to myself. But other than that, appreciate y'all for showing up. Appreciate the questions. I'm out this thing.